So tonight I was actually going to start looking at this tower. I was going to do a tower review. Go ahead and get started on it tonight. That way I'd have something cool to show you guys. However, that tower has proved a little problematic for me, so I'll be going over that one in another video. If you're interested in seeing a new mid-sized tower that just hit the market, then we'll check this out. However, it may or may not be disappointing. Can you tell by my reaction? We're going to be looking at the Hebe M1 by Gamdius. It's going to be their RGB flagship style headset with some kind of minor setbacks to it, but overall, pretty decent headset for the price. It comes in around between $60 and $70, I think, so your money may be better spent on other things that might be on sale, but if you're interested in this, I think it looks really cool, it's really comfortable, and we'll go over a few things about it real quick right before we start. If you look at the pictures of it on the box, if you look at pictures of it on most sites, you'll see that I think that they had their conceptual design implemented into those images that you see, because what you get inside looks a little bit different than what's actually depicted on the box, and only a little bit different. The ear pads, the ear cups on it, they look like there's some solid plasticky or more thick or firm leather material, and that's not the case. Really nice material that just kind of, does that. Really comfortable, and it fits on the head pretty well for me, but I also have a pretty big head, so if you don't have a big head, it might be a little weird, because the ear cups are sort of in position there. You don't have any real rotation or flex with them, so if you have a skinny head like that, it might just kind of pop on and stick a little weird. But for the most part, they're pretty comfortable and they feel lightweight, which is due to this little flex band you have right here. I'm watching myself, yeah. You have that little flex band that just kind of helps it. Now we also have that circumaural design which fits around the ears, and the faux leather pads right here kind of prevent that sound around you from bothering you. Some people may not like that. You may prefer something mesh where you could still hear somebody talking in the background, other things going on around you as well. These kind of eliminate that for the situation, which is good for the immersive experience aspect of it. The 7.1 virtual sound is pretty decent. It's not the best I've ever heard after listening on several different headsets in the past. I will say that it's pretty okay. It's not amazing. So it has a sound stage that kind of puts you in the middle, but sometimes you're still a little bit on the wonderment side of where is that sound actually coming from. That's all I mean by that. Sound is subjective. It's a really hard thing to kind of go over, and everybody has different opinions on what sounds good, and what sounds good to you is ultimately what matters. All I can do is kind of tell you what I think when I'm listening or when I'm playing, when I'm talking. So one of the cool things about this too on the inline control is I've seen bass boost before, but they straight up have something that's like a rumble cymbal here. So when you try that out, it does increase your bass boost. There's a little bit of white noise in the background when it's on, when there's nothing really happening. You have to listen pretty hard to hear it, but it's easy to drown out, I'll be honest with you. If you got other things going on, you're not going to notice it so much. But when it's on, you can hear a little bit of a staticky white noise in the background, and take that with a grain of salt, because I really had to listen to realize I could hear that. And anyways, what this does, this bass boost is more than just a bass boost. It's going to pretty much vibrate your head, not to the sense that you're like, but it's going to vibrate your head. When explosions, when you get shot, things like that happen, anything that makes a deep sound around you, you're going to feel extra immersed in the experience because it does have that vibration technology in it. So not only is it a bass boost, you're going to feel it in your head. It's almost like it rattles your skull a little bit. Now, if you don't like that, just turn it off. It still has really great sound, really great bass without that being on. But if you like being able to feel the vibration, turn it on. Good vibrations, huh? The microphone is retractable. You can see right there. That's as far as it comes, and it has this sort of gooseneck design, and it's really good at staying in place when you move it. However, I can hear just fine like that. This is a pretty incredible little microphone, and we'll do a sound test comparison between this and the Void RGB in just a minute so that you can hear the difference in what they sound like, and you can be the judge of how well can you hear somebody that's talking through this. The important things about headsets, or gaming headsets especially, is how well you can hear the things going on around you, and when you're playing with other people, how well you can be heard by other people. So this microphone really is on point, and it really did the trick as far as I'm concerned. Take a listen. Audio is a real subjective thing, so it's really important to keep in mind, like what I mentioned earlier, what really matters to you. Does it sound good, and can you be heard? That's kind of the important things with it, as well as comfort and other things, aesthetics. That all comes in later. But the big things are how well can you hear something, and how well can you be heard? So right now you're hearing me talking on this headset. How well do you think you'll be able to be heard based off of this recording? So just to give you a little bit of a difference, this is my camera microphone that's mounted on top. And then this is this headset right here. Does it sound different to you? Does it sound a little bit better? Now for further control, we're going to swap to the Corsair Void RGB. Everybody knows the Void, everybody knows Corsair, and hopefully that'll give you an idea. Is this sounding good enough to be a good comparison? And hopefully this will give you an idea of how well the microphone is on this compared to the microphone on that. So here I am now using the Corsair Void, as you can see. Does it sound pretty comparable? Do you pick up more or worse sound when you listen? What do you think you're going to get the best out of when it comes to a microphone attached to an expensive, more expensive gaming headset? I personally kind of like the GameDS one. I think that it sounds a little bit better on playback, but that might just be me. I do love my Corsair Void headset, but I don't know. I think when it comes down to the microphone, GameDS might have them beat in that department. Now, some of the downsides to this Hebe M1 RGB is there's not real RGB control. So it should really, I don't feel like, be marketed as an RGB headset just because it has a static light cycle. You can turn the lights off and have no lights on whatsoever, but you also can't set the lights to a specific color in Hera. You can't change the function or the pattern. You can't change the speed of the lights that are cycling around inside of the headset. They simply are a phasing through colors, sort of goes through the rainbow spectrum of what it has to offer, and that's it. Now, it looks great, but it is a little bit disappointing that, especially for the price point, you don't have the ability to control the lights and what they do. Maybe I want red lights only. Maybe I want breathing red lights. Maybe I want some sort of rainbow effect or a flash or a strobe. I don't have that with this. So it can be a little bit misleading when you're like, oh, this is a really cool headset, pretty decent price. Let me get this RGB going. And then you realize you don't have control over it. Hera is also a little bit on the minimal side for what you can do with it. You can go in there and use the equalizer inside of Hera, but really you can do that outside of Hera as well. It does come with options to change your voice, and you can change your voice to a couple different things that are maybe a little bit fun and gimmicky to do, but unless you're a real creeper that's looking to change your voice and just be strange, there's really no need for that. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked this review. I hope it was somewhat helpful. Remember, sound is subjective, and your opinion on sound may be very different than my opinion on sound. I love things like Bose and Sonos, and those are where I kind of set the stage there. When it comes to gaming headsets, I'll compare to the Void because I love Corsair's Void, despite some things about it I don't like. Anyways, guys, get subscribed if you haven't already. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and keep up with some updates. Sometimes I say interesting things on there, but not usually. Have a great day, night, whatever it is. I'll see you in the next video that I do, which will probably not be a good one on this tower behind me. So this is a quick afterthought, but I want you guys to go down below into the description, and I've actually posted something, and it's a reason why I don't really like doing sound stuff that much. It's subjective, like I said, like everybody will say, sound is subjective, but if you go to the description down below, there's a link that kind of explains it in a really simple layman's terms kind of way, and it'll make a lot more sense to you, I think. You gotta think about our ears, and they nail it on the head when they say this. Our ears are like fingerprints. They're not the same. They're all different. You might like something in the way it sounds, and I might not. It's kind of like saying the color that I've always known as green is actually what would be my blue when you see it. So, I don't know if that makes sense, but go down below and check it out. They explain it pretty well. If you're interested in something like that, I'm going to put it there as a reference. It'll explain a little bit about headphones and the subjectivity that is audio and as we know it. I hope it's a little bit helpful to you guys, and I hope this video has been helpful. And it's kind of my reason why I don't like to touch on audio that much, because it can be real dependent on the person that's listening to it and that's using it.